Welcome to the Field Max Pro training. We're going to be talking about the Field Max Pro dashboard. Starting off, we'll be looking at the summary module, which is the first module that displays whenever you log into the dashboard. So the summary module contains a snapshot of information, different information. So you can see things on visits, sales, outlets, and so on. So it's specifically for maybe busy managers who want to just get quick insights on the go. You can just easily get the information you need on the summary module. To the left side of the summary module, you have the navigation panel. This contains all other modules or pages contained within this dashboard. So the first, like I mentioned, is the summary, followed by the maps. The maps page shows you the distribution of your different points of interest plotted on the map. Then the calendar shows you visits that have been planned by your field staff, those that have been completed, and those pending for each day in a time period. You also have the outlets module that gives you the distribution and breakdown of your different points of interest. You have visits, where you can see detailed information on visit activities that your field staff have conducted at different customer locations. You also have sales, where you can see information about sales, payments received, records of customers who made purchases on credit, and so on. So let's dive into the tutorial proper for the summary module. The middle section of the summary module shows you activities plotted on the map, and then to the right and the bottom of the page you can see quick insights on those same activities. At the top of the summary page, you have a tab showing you visits, sales, and outlets. You can toggle between these tabs, and the information displayed on the summary module will change to fit the information of the tab you have selected. So this means if we switch to the sales tab, the information displayed on this summary page would be that of sales. And when we switch to the outlets tab, the information displayed will be that of outlets. Now, whenever you log in, the default view is today's view. However, you can always use the filter button to select a time period of choice. So with the filters button, I can click on these filters at the top right, and then I see different filter options I can apply to the dashboard. So we have the date filters, we have the location filters, we have users, outlet types, and so on. So with these filters, I'm able to query the dashboard to get precise information for what I'm looking for. Now let's try out the date filter. All I have to do is click on the dates, and then I get this calendar showing me the month, the year, and the different dates. I also have some quick date options at the bottom. So we have the option for today, yesterday, last 7 days, last 30 days, this month, last month. However, if the information you're looking for doesn't fall within this range, you can easily just specify the period on the calendar. So to do this, you just select the first day and the last day of the time period you're looking for. So you'll notice that it highlights the time period that has been selected. Then all you need to do is go to the bottom of the filter panel and select apply filter. Now what happens is the information that's been displayed on the map would configure to this date setting that we have specified. So now I'm able to see information for the 1st to the 9th of November. Now let's talk about the insight boxes. Right now, we're still on the visits tab, so the information being displayed are information concerning visits. We can also see that on the map, we have been directed to locations where those visit activities have taken place. You can always zoom in and zoom out of the map to see specific points or locations where those activities took place. Now for the insights boxes, we have information such as total visits, actual versus planned visits. This tells you the number of visits that have been done versus what was planned for the reps or by the reps. You have the active field staff, that's the active field reps, those field staff who have conducted visits for this time period. We also have the average time spent. We have the productive visits. This is the number of visits that resulted in sales. You also have the unique outlets visited. This tells you the number of customers that were visited during this time period. We have visit exceptions, which would show information or the counts of visits that were done outside the locations where those outlets were registered. And then you have the actual versus the target visits. At the bottom, you have the visit performance trend, which is a line graph showing you the trend of visits year to date. It defaults to year to date, but you can always toggle between 1 month, 6 months, year to date, or 1 year. You can also change the line graph to a bar chart if you prefer. Beside that, you have the unvisited outlets year to date. This gives you the percentage of your total outlets or your total customer base that have not been visited throughout the year. You also have the productive visits year to date. This shows you the percentage of your visits that have yielded sales. So now let's take a closer look at these insight boxes. At the bottom of each box, you notice a bubble. It could be red, amber, or green. When you hover over that bubble, it gives you information about the increase, decrease, the difference basically in the activities that have been registered for this time period versus a comparison time period. So in this case, we have activities being compared with the 23rd to the 31st of October. So here we can see that there is a 40.65% decrease because the total visits that were done were 155. Meanwhile, for this time period, we have just 92 visits done. Now, for bubbles that are green, it indicates an increase, and bubbles that are amber indicates that there was no change. Beside each inside box, there is an arrow at the top. This arrow gives you the opportunity to call out more details about that insight. For instance, if we look at the actual versus planned visits and we click on the arrow at the top, it takes us to a page where we can see the breakdown of the customers that were visited that made up these 92 visits. So at the top, we can see that 92 visits were done out of the 114 that were planned for this time period. There is a table below where we can see the names of the customers, the names of the field staff, locations where those visits were done, and so on. You also have the option to toggle between the actual visits and visits that were planned. You can do so by clicking on the planned visits, and we see that the information on the table changes to show us all visits that were planned and includes a status column that tells us if that plan was accomplished or not. So it basically tells us if the customer was visited or not visited, like we can see in this case. There is also a search at the top of the table, which you can employ to search for specific customers or field staff. You also have the option to download completed visits or to download the scheduled visits. Scheduled visits are the visits that were planned. So let's go back to the summary page. Now we've seen some information about the total visits and the visits that were planned. We can also see information around the field staff who were active, so the field staff who carried out these visits. All we need to do once again is to click on the arrow at the top, and then we get taken to a page that gives us the names and the numbers of visits that were done by each of the field staff. You can click on the visits made column, the number of visits section, and it gives you a pop-up containing the visits that were done by that particular field staff along with the visit status. So you can see if the visit was completed or if it was cancelled or if it's still in progress. So what this means is you can log on anytime in the day and you'll be able to tell if your field staff are currently working or if they've completed visits. You can also see information around when the visit started and when it ended for each customer that was visited. And you have the option to download the visits by that particular field staff. So let's go back to the table. Here we have the option to also toggle between active field staff, that's the active reps, and those who are inactive. So So the inactive reps in this case are those who have not done visits for the time period we're looking at. You have the option to download the inactive reps or download the active reps. So let's go back to the summary page to see more insights. Okay, so we're back to the summary page, and we've seen that for every information that we're looking at, we have the option to see more details. Now let's switch over to the sales tab, and we see that the information showing on the inside boxes have changed to the information concerning sales. So for this time period, we can see number of sales, that the amount of sales that have been done. We can see total orders that were taken. We can see the number of active field reps. Let's filter for a longer time period so we can get more data. So all I need to do is to go to the date filter and use the back arrows to go back. And I'm going to select a time period starting from the 1st of July. And I'll use the forward arrows to go forward to the 31st of October. So now that I'm done with this selection, I'm just going to click on apply filters. And you see the information displayed gives me information around sales that have been done within this period. So here we have more data to work with. We can click on the arrow beside the total sales to see the breakdown of what makes up this total sales. So here we see the actual amounts. We see the table containing the names of the customers who have bought from us. We can see the field rep who managed those customers or who made those sales. We can also see the total value that was made, the total value of sales that was made to each customer. And once again, we can click on this bubble to give us more insights. When we do so, we see information around the SKUs that were sold. So we can see the specific product name, we can see the date the sale was made, we can see the quantity and the total value. So this is possible for all records contained within this table. So let's go back to the summary page. We can see information around total payments. We can see information around account receivables. So this tells us the number of customers who have bought from us on credit. We can also click on the arrow to get more information about who these customers are, how much is outstanding, and any balances that have been received. Okay. So we can also see here active sales reps. This gives us the number of sales reps who made sales for this time period. At the bottom, we have a sales performance trend that shows us sales and how it has risen and fallen year to date. Once again, you can also toggle between 1 month, 6 months, year to date, and 1 year. You can also switch if you prefer to view a bar chart. Besides that, you have the top performing field reps. This gives you the names of the field reps and the total sales they have done arranged based on highest sale value. You can also use the arrow button to call out more information about these insights. You also have the total selling, the top selling products. This arranges the products that have been sold by sales value. And you can use the arrow at the top right to call up more information about these insights. Now let's switch over to the outlets tab. So by clicking on the outlets tab, the information displayed changes to information around outlets. We can see the total outlets we have registered. We can see the outlets, number of outlets that have not been visited yet to date. Outlets here we mean our customers that have been registered by the field staff on this solution. We also see the number of new customers that were created during this time period. And then we see the number of productive customers, which is the productive outlets. Productive here means these people have bought from your organization. At the bottom, we have the outlet growth trend. We have the outlet classification by channel. And then we have a table showing us the most covered locations. So this sums it up for the summary module. When you're done viewing information for a specific time period, you can always go to the filters and clear your filters. You can also decide to filter information for a specific field staff, for a specific sales team, for a specific location, as well as dates, and it will give you the information for the different filters you have applied. So here we're going to clear our filters. Click on the filters button, come down to the clear filters and tap on it. So this is going to bring us back to today's view. And when we are done viewing the dashboard, to log out, you just go to the options button at the top right, click on it, and then you have the option to log out.